Okay, next up is user access reviews. We should be periodically reviewing and auditing user rights. Okay, we need to make sure that users don't have more capabilities, more permissions than they need. We want to ensure that concept of least privileges, right, quote unquote. And that's something that we should all be familiar with, right? Least privileges means that we only give them the amount of access and the rights and permissions that they need. If all they need is to be able to read a file, then why would we give them the ability to write as well or modify, right? All we want to give them is the bare minimum so they can get their job done. That mitigates and reduces our attack vector, right? The attack surface. It's less for somebody to poke around. It's less for an opportunity for deletion, modification, some type of damage, if you will, to the system or to the company. So least privileges, right? We also want to make sure that users don't have access to things they no longer need, right? So as they move jobs or they change locations, take away those access rights. That's where group memberships come into play. If we're manually doing this, it's easy to forget. Yet if we have group memberships that are set up properly, Sally moves from HR to finance. Well, we pull her out of the HR group, put her in the finance group. She's going to lose those permissions on the one side, gain the permissions on the other. That automated fashion makes it very easy to keep track of, right? So that kind of mitigates that fact of making sure users don't have access to anything they no longer need. And then we also need to make sure that special group or privileged group memberships are intact, right? So what is that? Well, if we have an administrators group as an example, we want to make sure that only the administrators are in that group, right? So if someone were to come in and basically hack their way into the system and add themselves into that admin group or nest another group into there, if we're not actively monitoring that, it's very easy to miss. Okay, there are some automated ways we can do that. There are PowerShell scripts or other applets and commandlets that we can use to periodically run it, like every 30 minutes, every hour. Even group policy can do that every 30 minutes and say, okay, these are the members we're going to define that should be in this group. If anybody else is in that group, the next time that cycle runs and it audits, it's going to pull them back out again. So we need to be aware that those things are in place.